And welcome back to this week's episode of the Broken Kid Podcast. I'm your host. Today we're going to be talking about this failed interview that I had not too long ago, actually today, unfortunately. Wish it was longer so I could forget about it. But now I can add it to my long list of failed interviews. Now, if you're wondering what this interview was for, it wasn't for anything prestigious. It wasn't for a job that's going to change lives. It was for a job as a stupid salon receptionist for Avalon. And where I live here, Avalon isn't really good. The products maybe? I don't know. I don't really know. I don't even know why they asked me to go in. Because honestly, I was going for a salon interview, receptionist. I go in. I don't know what the heck they thought. Because I was the only one that had experience in dog grooming as a receptionist. Not hair grooming. So I think they must have read it wrong. And I'm kind of thinking, while I'm in the interview, I think I'm in the wrong room. I don't think I should even be here. That being said, I roll up with the intent, I'm under the assumption that I'm going to be the only one getting interviewed. It's going to be a solo interview. I hate to say this, but I'm a solo act. I don't do, when it comes to interviews, the best thing to do is to do them solo, right? So yeah, I go. I'm doing it. I get the call. First of all, I get the call a week ago, and she's like, "You want to come in for an interview?" And I say, "Yeah, 4:30," and it was really weird because looking back in retrospect, it all makes sense. The call that changed everything, right? And here I am. I get the call. We set up the appointment. Now it's today. Today, I go after a week of waiting. Something tells me I shouldn't go. I don't want to go. It's going to be a waste of time. It's going to be a waste of gas. And I was right. Because why else would it be an interview from hell unless I went well? It's not called... The name of this video isn't called The Interview from Heaven. I got the job offer, or I got a great job offer for a great position that pays well. No, this job actually pays crap. I could make more money selling my fucking pubes on OnlyFans. I think I heard a mosquito. But anyhow, the whole thing is just crazy. And I show up for the interview, and I show up. This is Avalon. Avalon is not considered. It's a school, and it does all right. But unfortunately, it trains students. Now, the unfortunate part is that it advocates, or it advertises, also advocating that their students are going to do an exceptional job. And oftentimes, it's hit or miss. Depending on the student, you're gonna get what you want. Depending on the student, you might leave looking like somebody took a sponge to your hair and made it look all messy. But, it's all that, this and that. And, you can look up in Avalon if you can. They're not everywhere. They're only in certain states. I think it's 4 or 5. Thank God. And I remember that one time I went to go get my hair cut, and it was a nightmare. And I was there. I got it bleached. It was horrendous. They bleached it, and then it took years for them to cut it. I was there for 5 hours. I wanted to leave. God. I was there for hours, and they made me look like a German, like I was a part of the Aryan race. But no. I show up, and there's a bunch of people there in the waiting room. And I'm like, oh, okay, these are people who are going to get their hair done. You can't tell. And they all had a clipboard. They were filling out the application. I was filling out the application. And I was like, I didn't know exactly who it was, but it was just interesting. And, then they all call us. They were late as hell. The interview was for 4:30. They didn't call us until 4 probably 48. And they call us and they're like, okay, you guys are all here, right? And I was like, you're for all of us? So this was a group interview. I don't think any of us knew, which is really lousy. So that's strike. Who cares what strike it is? It's a strike. Because what you're telling is you don't have the patience to conduct individual interviews where you can get to know people. And that's really twisted what they were trying to do. This was real mean girl behavior. And I was the only boy there. And I was surrounded by so much estrogen, so much vagina that I cared nothing about. None of it was, no one there was attractive. And there was even this one girl who was like, I work with koalas, and I got pregnant, and I just delivered a baby not too long ago. And she was like, how do you work with koala? She's like, well, to be honest, that was intentional. The baby wasn't. I'm like, what the fuck? So somebody accidentally cream pied you? And you're telling us that in a group interview? But anyhow, I'll go on, but I'll go on and talk about her later. But, you know, we all go in, they take us into a room. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And she's like, how many of you there's 2 people doing this interview, group interview at that. And I thought it was crazy, you know? And we're all just we're all there confused. And they make us do this like kindergarten exercise that I haven't done in a while because I'm 24. And she's like, put your name on this tent, like fold it hamburger style and put your name on it. And then you fold it and then it says your name. And then we go around and they ask us like 4 questions. What is your proudest accomplishment? What is your proudest accomplishment? What was the second one? Why do you think you're good for this position? What is something that you're happy that you've done? And the last one was really weird. So we all spent like, this is a waste of time. Because she said, listen, look, the reason we do this is because instead we get to spend about an hour doing this. We get to spend an hour doing this and we get to interview 10 people all at once in the same room. And I said, well, really, if you're interviewing people, it shouldn't take you that long. It should take like 10 minutes. She said it would take her 8 hours or like 8 to 10 hours to do all of us individually. These questions are not that deep. They're not that profound. And maybe, you know, what you should do is you should nail it down or scale it down to like 5 people instead of having to have like 10 people come in, because they were hiring for like 3 or 4. So maybe have 4 people come in. That way you can fill them all up. And you don't, because look, at the end, one of the last questions they asked us is, who do you think is best suited for the job? Who isn't you? And I was like, oh, great. This is practically going to give tally points or tally marks to people. So you have to be I have to be very careful about who I give mine to. And this one girl got nominated like 5 times. I got nominated 0. A lot of people got nominated 0. One girl got nominated like twice. And then it gets really weird because she tells us, she's like this, look, both of them are like, okay, so we're going to step up. The other one was useless, toxically useless. The other one doing the interview was not speaking, very little. I wouldn't even say she was there for eye candy. She was there to be a useless sack of vagina. And second of all, you know, look, this whole thing is crazy because she's like, okay, so she's practically telling us to vote somebody else. And her notion, this idea, she thought the reason that would be a great idea is because we've all been listening. And it's like, well, I could have said, look, I'll be honest with you, there's nobody else. The person for the job is me. I don't think quite frankly, I don't think any one of these people are good enough. I think if you want to hire somebody good, you hire me. But it's a good thing because I would have been surrounded by pussy. And not in a good way because these people looked very problematic. And the final 4 that got nominated, so what happened is, she's like, okay, we're going to step out and we're going to choose the final 4 that go on. I don't know why they said final 4. But the next 4 that would go on to get a second interview, which, if you're going to go on to fill all 4 positions, or if you need 3 to 4 positions, aren't they all kind of guaranteed to be hired at this point, you know? And so she comes back and she's like, if your name is so and so and so and so, we would like to see you. You can stay. The rest of you guys can leave. And she walks us out through this second back door. And it's almost like I felt like I was like a kid that was being hidden from their family because I was born out of wedlock. And this was really awkward. And it was kind of like demoralizing and degrading, but look, it was a stupid job interview, and it was for a stupid job, and it wasn't that meaningful of a job position, but it was weird. And she's like, we're going to keep your interview page, we're going to keep your applications. Bullshit. You have more purpose to use that to wipe your ass than you do to actually look at them. And we all kind of get up and we all leave, and we're exiting. We all exit at the same time. And there were some people who like got in their cars and drove off, and they were mad because that final exercise was kind of like saying, like, it was practically saying who deserves it more than you. Which I don't know why they do that exercise, but it was very toxic. If whoever thought of it was like very Regina George style from Mean Girls, and whoever thought this was proper protocol or courteous to the morale of the interviewees, it was bullshit. But no, there was obviously people there who showed up and they had like pre-planned interviews or questions and answers. They had their questions were like pre-planned. But no, I mean, obviously, I hope Avalon burns in hell. I hope it continues to give shitty haircuts to terrible people, because these stupid people go there willingly. But yeah, no, I'm entering a new area in my life where I don't really care about these stupid people. So if you work at Avalon, just know you're a waste of sperm. And if you go there as a student, you're a waste of sperm. And if you're the people who interviewed me, you're a waste of sperm. That being said, we're done with this week's episode. To leave you on one more final note, hold on to the hope, hold on to the faith. I've been to so many bad interviews. Soon I will find a job that I like. I have one, I had one, but I'm going to get a better one, You just got to kind of think like that, and that you can get ahead. And that there are people who are going to not view you for what you're worth. Or they're going to think you're too qualified or too good. Or they're going to interpret your qualifications as arrogance. But to them, you just say in your head, you're a waste of sperm. You should have been swallowed. And on that note, we're done with this week's episode. I hope you guys had fun listening to me rant. Go get yourself an In-N-Out Burger if you live in a state that has an In-N-Out Burger. But that being said, I will be seeing you next week. He does so much cocaine that I could inhale from his nostril, and I too would get a hit of cocaine. Or how much cocaine he's been doing, this cop. No, 100%. They were more crooked than a line that was drawn by Michael J. Fox.